Stephanie Milky here, aka KetoMOM, or often called mom, sis, Steffi, daughter, wife, aunt, and friend. Just like many of you, I carry a lot of titles. My favorite title is mom. I should probably say wife, which takes a lot of my time. But let's be honest, if you want to do something and do it well, you will make the time for it. Commitment is hard because we find ourselves overcommitted, but when you practice prioritizing, you will find out what is actually important and what you can let go. With the KetoMOM podcast, you will learn together how to manage our time, commit to the most important things in life, and I will equip you with the tools you need to feel qualified each step of the way. My name is Stephanie Milky, and welcome to the KetoMOM Secrets podcast. Happy Sunday. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the KetoMOM page. My name is Stephanie. We're going to dive into the conversation of prepping and preparing for the week. What does it look like to prepare for a week? How do I do it? How do I get myself prepared so I have a great, successful week? And we're going to talk a little bit about intermittent fasting. And so as you're tuning in, I would love to know, where are you tuning in from? And tell me this, are you planned for the week? So tell me, how many of you actually take some time to plan and prep, plan out your meals, plan your workouts, like do your laundry? Like, do any of you feel like, and everybody's different, so hear me on this. I often will say, I use Sunday as a prep day. So I use Sunday to figure out what this next week is going to look like, plan the meals, where do we have to go, what day do I need to use the crock pot, do I have my workout clothes clean, is the laundry put away, and I'm very well aware that some of you have different schedules and you work on the weekends and not during the week. I'm not saying that Sunday has to be the day. I'm just saying choose a day. Choose a day that works for you, and I want you to take a little bit of time and plan what your week should look like or what you want it to look like. How many of you do that? So I am sitting here in Minnesota. I'm looking out on my lake. We actually have some fishermen out there today. They're ice fishing. It's a big Vikings game today. We've got playoffs. I'm not a huge Vikings fan, but I'm married into a family that watches the Vikings and watches football. I go along for the ride, although my husband's actually at the Vikings game. And I like to sit around and talk to anybody that wants to talk to me during the game. So how many of you are football fans? All right, so I'm going to give you a couple things to dive into or just think about if you don't actually plan, or maybe you need some reminders. Because here's the deal. Oftentimes we know what to do. We just need a reminder, right? So if you've been here for any point in time on the KetoMOM page, you know that we've talked about planning, we've talked about preparing, we talk about meals and food and keto and macro. We talk about all of the things. I bet you know how to reach the goals that you want to achieve, right? But it's actually being reminded and then taking action on what you know, which, by the way, I'm drinking some of my favorite mom fuel. I was cleaning the house. My house actually really needed to be cleaned. So anyways, let's dive in. Wouldn't it be cool if the fisherman pulled up a huge, I'm legitimately looking out on the lake and there's some cool things. So I don't want to fish, but I like that other people are using it because it's freezing. All right, here is what I like to do when I plan for my week. And remember, it doesn't have to be on a Sunday, but whatever works for you. So I take a little bit of time. You guys, this doesn't have to take long. But I will tell you, I love to tell people when they tell me, I don't plan, I live in the moment, which is great. Adaptability is great. It's great to live in the moment. And yet, that if you fail to plan, I always say, well, I don't always, I say this to my friends as we're having conversation. I'll say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Whatever that means to you. But in general, I often will have people go, oh, I messed up this week. I went through the drive-through. My week is going so fast. It's already Wednesday. I didn't do this, this, and this. And I'm like, did you plan your week? Like, did you have your meals planned? No. Did you have, it really is just to know. So here's what I want you to know. I'm not barking at you or yelling at you. I want to suggest that you take a little bit of time and just simply make a plan. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be color-coded on your phone. It can be on a whiteboard on your fridge, on a piece of paper, a Post-it note. something. So what I like to do is I just get out a calendar or like a piece of paper. It's actually on my fridge now. It's a whiteboard, and I'll write out things like, what do we have? Which appointments do we have this week? Where do I have to be? Which kids have what, right? So I start with that. And then from there, I go into our food. So I went to Costco yesterday, which, by the way, how many of you love Costco? You guys, it is my favorite store. If you have one near you, and I mean near as like in an hour, we have to drive an hour to get to Costco. I love it, and I will do it. And so we already went to Costco, and I already planned all of our meals because we were only here for a week, and then we're leaving to go to Florida next week. And so I planned, we've got chicken tacos. Actually, I've got chicken tacos right now in the crock pot. And so we've got things like chicken tacos. The girls love breakfast for dinner. They love chili. And then I grabbed some beef, and I'll probably make another soup. Probably more tacos because our kids love it. And something super easy. I have some chicken and vegetables and some things. But in general, I'm like, all right, I checked my refrigerator before we left. I checked our freezer. And then I went through and I'm like, what do we need for this week? What are the meals that we want? We got eggs and different things. So I know what I'm making for the rest of this week. And so here's, if you need step-by-step, I want you to, first of all, get a calendar out. What do you have going on this week? Which day is your busiest day that if you did not have anything planned, you would find yourself in a drive-thru, and that's the day you use the crock pot, the Instapot. That's the day that you keep it super simple. Everybody comes home, you make a lettuce wrap, a low-carb wrap, you make some tuna fish and egg salad, you throw it in a wrap, and on you go. Or some meat and cheese, or some peanut butter. Something simple, right? Crock pot or something simple. If you have that in your mind, you won't go through the drive-thru, or you won't find yourself getting frustrated because your day didn't work out how you wanted it to. You guys, it doesn't take a lot of planning. So write out your calendar, go through your refrigerator, go through your pantry, pick your favorite meals. What do you want this week? I wanted chicken tacos. So I'm getting some chicken, throwing it in the crock pot. We'll have that for the next day or two because I make a ton of chicken, shredded chicken. It's incredible and super simple. And so what do you have already? What favorite meals do you want? And I also plan for leftovers. And so it's super simple. That could be on your busiest day. So I've got crock pot meal and that we're having tonight for supper, and that will go into Monday, maybe Tuesday. And so our busiest day is Wednesday, so I'll have something else in the crock pot as we come home from CrossFit before we go to church. So as you think about that, don't overthink it. Make your favorite meals that you want. Go to the store or go on your phone or your computer. Grab your groceries. You're done. That's the easiest part. And then from there, I tell people, think about this. If you find yourself wanting to choose better meals and you're like, I don't do great for lunch, I would say take some extra time and figure out, if you work out of the home, pack a lunch. Do you have a refrigerator at your office? Do you find yourself going out to eat a lot? Choose a better option or pack something to bring with you, which takes a little bit of planning, right? So let me ask you this. How many of you pack your lunch? What does lunch look? I would actually just love to know, what does lunch look like for all of you? Do you work outside of the home? Do you work from home, which a lot of people do now? Do you pack a lunch? Do you go out to eat? Because there are some really great options if you do go out to eat. There is unwich. You can always get a bunless burger. You can grab a salad with the croutons on the side. I'll say, if you go out to eat with your coworkers, great. Choose the best foods that you can. Don't overthink it. And drink your water, grab your ketones. Just be mindful. I'm going to say this. I'm going to talk about intermittent fasting in just a second. But I will tell you, I hands down believe the number one reason that people are either gaining weight or not losing the weight that they want to has to do with just simply overeating. The messages that are in my inbox day in and day out are related to, if I ask somebody, I'm like, send me what you eat. Tell me what you eat. You're not seeing the results that you want. How long has it been? How much do you want to lose? Are you planning your meals? Are you preparing just a little bit? And then I say, okay, if they show me the food that they're eating, I usually find a track record of snack here, lunch here, snack, lunch. And in general, the food looks great. The snacks are low carb, they're better options, but most people are overeating, and they're even overeating good food. That's where intermittent fasting comes in. So after you plan your meals and after you have your calendar set, you've got your groceries, you've got an idea, and you've got your week set up for success. And I do things like I've got actually right on the other side of this camera, it's a mound of laundry, but it's put in categories of like, I need to hang that gets folded. I've got my socks to go in the drawer. So I'm just getting everything ready. So I'm just not stressed out. So I do things like, I got to do my laundry, right? I told the girls before they could do anything today, I'm like, I need you to vacuum. I need the toilets cleaned. I just want the house set so that when Monday is here, we're ready to roll. I just like to feel like things are in order, right? What do I need? What can I prepare today? It doesn't take a lot of time. It takes a little bit of thinking and then planning, and your week will go so much better. And so part of that is, are you going to start intermittent fasting or eating breakfast? So I get this question, and last week, we just simply asked the question on the KetoMOM page. I said, what does it mean to you when I say intermittent fasting? And there was a lot of people that said, tell me what that means. And then a lot of people saying, I feel incredible intermittent fasting. Oh my goodness, I've never felt better. I can control food. And so I just want to give you a brief overview of what intermittent fasting means. Okay, before I do that, is this making sense? For those of you who meal prep, you've got it. You feel great. If you have any tips or tricks or ideas to help other people, if you're like, this really helps me when I meal prep, post it below. Or if you're like, hey, this has really helped me in my weekly journey or to have a successful week, share it with us below. If you have questions, ask the questions below. But as far as intermittent fasting goes, all I want you to think of is this. I'm going to go throughout my today. I'm going to, after dinner, I'm going to shut the lights out in the kitchen. I'm done eating. So you don't need a nighttime snack. Drink some water. You don't need a nighttime snack. You don't have to be snacking all day long. So eat a solid meal. And then from the time you're done with dinner until the next day, if you choose to intermittent fast, and there's different ways that people do it, but in general, you've got an 8-hour eating window, and then you'll go till the next day, 16 hours. It's going to take you to about lunchtime. So you're basically skipping breakfast. During your intermittent fasting, though, you can have black coffee. Some people choose to have coffee with like heavy cream. That's up to you. There are so many different viewpoints on that, just so you know. What is considered intermittent fasting is drinking something, for example, so we have a doctor that says if you drink or consume something, mainly drinking something under 100 calories, or it's not going to spike your insulin. If you track it, you know. If you don't, there's things that I drink during my intermittent fasting period. So I obviously drink water. A lot of people drink coffee. I don't like coffee. I drink ketones. This does not break my fast. I also have some electrolytes. So it just depends on what you're going for. So intermittent fasting is basically skipping breakfast, and you're going to eat lunch 16 hours from dinner to the next day. Does that make sense? Yes? Here's why. The benefits of intermittent fasting is, first of all, you should Google it because there's a lot of medical benefits. I'm not a doctor. I'm going to give you the verbiage from a mom of how I understand it. It helps with fat loss, so that's super great. You're not eating as much. And I'm fueling my body with ketones. So this in general gives me the energy throughout my morning, helps me with my appetite control. It just helps me feel great, and it turns my brain on. And so many other benefits. If you've never tried ketones and you want to know more about it, I want you to post trial in the comments and we'll chat. So we have a couple different things. We have an intermittent fasting kit that I help people walk through. This is new, and or just drinking ketones. So if you just want to know more about intermittent fasting in general and our fasting kit, post fasting in the comments. If you're like, I've never tried ketones, I'd like to know why this doesn't break your fast and how I can drink this and actually get myself to intermittent fast. Because oftentimes people are like, but I'm hungry. Like I wake up in the morning and I want some food. And why would I do that? And please help me understand it. So I first will say, Google the benefits of intermittent fasting. Number one, it helps with fat loss. It's going to help you be more mindful of what you're eating. I actually wrote them down because I didn't want to forget. I mean, there really is a ton of medical benefits. I can say it like this. It helps with fat loss or supports fat loss. It supports a healthy heart. It supports a healthy brain and so much more. So, and oftentimes people will give me flack. Like they'll be like, I can't believe that you think I shouldn't eat breakfast. And I'm like, listen, everybody's different. I didn't start intermittent fasting until probably a couple of years ago, and I've been on this journey for 7.5 years. If you would have told me to intermittent fast or to do any type of fast years ago, I would have been like, excuse me, I love breakfast. I will be hangry. I can't believe you're asking me to skip a meal. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, says all the cereal companies. But I actually wasn't even eating a great breakfast. So if you're throwing a fit about giving up breakfast, then I would say eat it. Eat a protein-packed breakfast, though. You don't need cereal. You don't need the donuts. You don't need the bagels. Like, choose a better option. I'm not saying you have to intermittent fast. I'm saying it's really helpful for those who want to lose some fat, feel great, honestly control their food window. Because if you heard what I said prior, and if you're listening to anybody that's coaching in this space, most people are overeating, and they're overeating good food. So if you just be mindful of the food that you're eating in general, and you ask yourself throughout the day, if you find yourself munching on something and you're like, why am I eating this? Am I hungry? Oh, I'm actually not hungry. It was in front of me. Or I was bored. Or I'm at a party. Or all of my kids are snacking, so I want a snack. Like, out of sight, out of mind. Get it off your counter, get it off your desk, get it out of your drawer, get it out of your car. And there is an aspect of, I feel like we just have to have an awareness of how often we're eating and what our body's actually asking from us. Are you tired? Are you emotional? Are you actually hungry? Are you thirsty? Do you need to go for a walk? Like, if you truly just take a little bit of time and listen to your body, go drink some water, do some movement. If you're still hungry, then have something. But if you're not hungry, then go, I think I can wait for the next meal. Is this making sense? So, intermittent fasting supports fat loss. It supports your brain. It supports your health in so many different areas. Now, there are some times where people shouldn't intermittent fast. People who have eating disorders, right? Like, I was reading an article today and it said, well, there are some people who obviously need to work with their doctor. There are people who legitimately have unhealthy relationship with food. That is something they're working through. You want to make sure you're not eating too less calories, because there is an aspect where people are just like, somebody will send me a message and she's like, I don't know why I'm not losing weight. And I'm like, what are you eating? And she's eating like a hard-boiled egg. And I'm like, you need to eat some more food. You're starving your body. It needs to eat so it can function properly. You don't need to eat, but you need to eat. So, I mean, there's a lot of unhealthy relationships with food, right? I'm not here to lecture anybody who's like, yeah, but you don't know my story. I don't know a lot of people's stories. I'm going to give you a general overview of what most people can do, because there are a lot of people that just simply eat to eat. And so if you can take a little bit of time today, or whatever works in your calendar, plan your meals, go to the grocery store, have an idea, have it laid out, make some chicken or something to go to your work, like package up what you want to keep in the refrigerator so that it's ready for you at your work, so you don't find yourself going through a drive-through, right? If you just take a little bit of time, I promise you it will help you have more success. That's it. So if you have questions about planning your meals, if you have already something that works that you want to share below. You can always send me a message and I will answer you. If you want to know more about our intermittent fasting kits, it's actually incredible because I'm not hungry. And actually, if you checked my stories, and actually I'll share it again, but we had a huge group of people go through this, and then all of the stories and the results out of the stories are pretty incredible, of hearing what people are saying about how great they feel. And so if you want to know more about the fasting kit, post fasting in the comments. Otherwise, we'll continue to tune into the page. So we have recipes, keto tips and tricks, anything that you're looking for. You can always go to ketomomsecrets.com, click on recipes, click on book club, click on trial packs, and you can chat or just post trial in the comments and we'll chat. Otherwise, I would love to know any keto low carb questions you have, and I'll do a live tomorrow. So I like to scroll through the comments and see what questions you have, because it gives me ideas of what to share. Because sometimes I feel like I'm saying the same things over and over again. And while I think it's great, and while I know I feel like I talk about the same things, really most people just need a reminder, right? So a reminder of like today's prep day, or whatever day's prep day for you, take some time and plan. Intermittent fasting is really great. It's really helping people with getting a control of their food, whatever you're looking for. Send me a message. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, post trial in the comments if you want to know more about my mom fuel. I've been drinking this for 7.5 years. And I tell people, if it didn't work and it didn't taste incredible and it legitimately is my mom fuel, like I wouldn't be drinking it just to talk about it. hands down. It's an incredible tool. I actually just had a lady message me this morning and she's like, Stephanie, I'm not going to say who it is. She said, Stephanie, I need you to bring me some ketones. And so I was meeting her at church and she's like, I need you to bring me some. I've never tried them. I've heard great things about them. And she just shared her story about a couple of her challenges. And I was like, I would love to. I would love to help you. And so she's like, I need a tool. This is a tool, right? Like I'll say a crock pot for me is a tool. I'm using it right now. An Instapot or different things are tools for me to have a great, successful week to support me, right? Ketones are a tool. Some of you get up and you drink a pot of coffee or energy drinks or whatever you drink, pop in some caffeine pills. I don't know what you do, but for me, when I was handed this packet 7.5 years ago, honestly, super skeptical. And I was like, all right, babe, I'll try it. Don't ask me again after I try it because I won't like it. Loved it. Didn't need a nap that day. And that's all I needed to know. And I've learned over the last 7.5 years about ketones and about your body making them and how I can drink them. But I haven't missed a day because I'm like, I feel incredible. I'm able to intermittent fast. I'm able to go do CrossFit workouts. I'm able to homeschool our girls. I'm able to run a business. I'm able to stay awake. I feel like my brain is focused because I have a clean fuel source. It's super important and it's a tool. So anything that you need, send me a message. I hope you guys have an incredible day and I look forward to chatting with you tomorrow and helping you all week on your journey. Have a great day and we'll talk to you soon.